doing? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel, and in this corner of the internet, I make design, lifestyle, and vintagey type videos. Now, if any of those topics interest you, consider subscribing and hit that bell for notifications. Now, I am excited for this video because we will be doing a recipe from this 1958 cookbook that I found at an antique mall. I had it in my last video. If you haven't checked that out, I'll put a card up there that you can click on. It kind of has some of the vintagey aspects as well as more travel vlogging type style video that I have out. But yeah, so I found this while I was on a little family road trip. So this is the Good Housekeeping's 10 p.m. cookbook, and this is refreshments designed with guests in mind. So with this one, this cookbook is basically like for your dinner parties and serving up for guests. So I did pick up two other cookbooks. One other one is for desserts, the other one is for breads and sandwiches, but I thought to give a little bit more variety for you because in my previous baking / cooking videos, I've noticed that I've only done baking recipes, so I thought, why not we actually serve hot food that is cooking. So the recipe that we are going to be doing inside of this little cookbook is called, I have it bookmarked by the way here, this is what I'm looking, steamed chicken party style. Now it comes with an image on the top of the page, but it's in black and white, so it doesn't really show too much. I mean, it looks okay, but without the color, you can't really distinguish what I'm looking at. It kind of just looks like a bunch of food piled on. But I'm thinking that this is going to turn out pretty good, and looks wise, we'll see how that goes. But the recipe I also found is very fast, simple, and easy when I was looking at what it needed. But this book, along with the other two that I had, has a ton of recipes. And some of them are a little questionable. I mean, they're edible, but can I say that they're tasty? Maybe not. I mean, I'm sure some of you have known about American 1950s recipes and how they were super into Jell-O molds at the time. I mean, there's a good amount of those type of recipes along with other kind of strange recipes that people don't really use today. However, if you are interested in that type of content, like if you want to see me actually make one of those strange 1950s recipes, just let me know by giving this video a thumbs up down below, just so I know. And then, I'll go ahead and I'll go and make that for you. And I will also taste that recipe in front of the camera for all of you. But yeah, I'm thinking that this will be really fun to do, so I'm ready to go ahead and cook. But before we do start, I also want to give a little fun fact about this cookbook. It still has the price tag of whoever picked it up. Back in 1958, it was only 39 cents at the time. When I got this, it was like $1.80 each, but I still think in modern day standards, that is a steal. All right, so let's start our vintage cooking.
So first thing on the list, you will need 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. After that, you will have to have 2 cups of milk, and it says in a saucepan, mix cornstarch with some milk to form a smooth paste. Adding cornstarch is supposed to help basically thicken the sauce that we are trying to make here. And after that is formed into a smooth paste, it says to add the rest of ingredients except the potatoes that we will be adding at near the end. So next will be 2 cups of diced cooked or canned chicken. So I ended up going with the 2 cups of canned chicken just because they were already pre-diced. Once I finished that up, I added 1 can of condensed cream of mushroom soup. It says it wanted it undiluted. I don't know if the can that I chose is undiluted. I didn't exactly check for that because I'm just noticing it now in the cookbook. But I did get the 1 can condensed cream of mushroom soup, so that's all that matters at this point. Once we put that into the saucepan, then you'll want 1 8-ounce can of water chestnuts. And they want it drained and sliced. After that, then you will need 1 3-ounce can of sliced mushrooms, undrained. Now, when I was doing this and adding it to the initial saucepan that I had, there were too many ingredients at that point, so I switched to a bigger saucepan. Now, I know that you did probably notice that I didn't put all of the sauce from the mushrooms in the can in on tape, but off screen I did add that mushroom sauce, I suppose, off camera. After that, I basically added in my spices in order to make all of this taste even better. I added an 1/8 teaspoon of each of the salt, pepper, dried, I'm gonna try to say it, marjoram. Then afterwards, I just added in a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and it did say to add MSG, but I didn't do that. I did not add the MSG. Neither did I add the 1 tablespoon of sherry, because I couldn't find sherry in the grocery store, surprisingly. And also, I kind of thought it was a waste of ingredients to just add a tablespoon of sherry. I didn't think that there would be that much taste to it anyways. Once that was all done, I basically transferred it over to the stove, and I put it on medium heat. And I went ahead and started the potatoes. Now, this actually wanted 2 cans of shoestring potatoes, you know, those picnic sticks type of like chip potatoes. At the time in the 50s, that was like a huge brand new type of thing, and lots of people loved it, so they tried to incorporate it into some of their dishes, but I did not see that on hand in like any of the grocery stores that I went, and I went to like 3 different kinds. So as a substitute, I ended up going with hash browns. So I cooked it over there on the stove next to my concoction of the cream chicken, and I kind of just let it sit there for a while to turn golden brown. I'm just moving it around just a bit, while also moving around the sauce just so it wouldn't sit there too much. The one thing that I didn't realize was how many canned foods was in this recipe. I feel like I went a little too easy into this recipe. I plan on doing a more challenging recipe from the cookbooks that I do have the next time I do use a recipe in there. I mean, if you want the Jello one, I will hope to see that it is a little more complicated than this, but we'll see. You know, I think that this recipe called for so many canned foods because in the 1950s, canned foods were kind of new. It was like a new idea at the time, and so it was seen as a lot more valued and popular in comparison to nowadays. So I'm guessing that this book really wanted to incorporate that, because I heard also, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I also heard that canned foods, because they were a lot more valued, it was harder to come by, I think, and it was more expensive than the commodity we have now. So yeah, this is supposed to be, in a way, a bougie dinner party recipe, even though in today's standards it's almost the opposite. But I mean, it looks pretty good in color. Anyways, the recipe says that you will have to cook over low to medium heat until bubbling hot, and then once the potatoes are done and you plate the cream of chicken, you'll want to arrange the potatoes around the edge of the large platter. And then lastly, you'll want to garnish it with parsley. So after completing the creamed chicken party style, this recipe says that it makes 6 servings. Okay, so I'm gonna plate some of my own, just so we can try it out firsthand. I'm just gonna get a small plate because the rest of it, I do intend to share it with my own family. So I'm just gonna get a bit of everything. Water chestnuts, the mushroom, the chicken, all of that. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of the potato onto the side as well. And then just get one of the garnishes of parsley. It's really lonesome. There we go. So this is what I have plated. It's just a little tiny bit, just so we can see how it turns out.
Alright, so it is complete. I have my little creamed chicken dish right here in my little plate. Yeah, I decided not to serve too much for myself because I still have dinner later with my family and I plan on giving them this. And so, yeah, I basically just took a little bit of everything. I got the parsley, I have the potatoes as well as water chestnuts, mushrooms, and chicken with cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste test this. I'll get the chicken by itself first. I think I'll try everything individually first and then try it all together. Okay. I think I let it sit for a little bit. It's already kind of cold. Oh, okay. This is really good actually. Yeah, on its own, you know, separately, if you eat the chicken separate from everything else, it doesn't have that much flavor going on. But once you add that water chestnut, there's some nice crispness to it, especially when you add the potatoes in. It has that warm, hearty, home-cooked style feeling, even though this recipe was super simple to make and surprisingly most of the ingredients came from a can. So yeah, this is very level amateur, level 1 cooking. Yeah, no, I really like this. Oh, and the mushrooms, let me taste it with the mushrooms because I didn't get a mushroom in the bite. I think there's enough flavor, and with all the spices that we put in, I don't think it really needs any extra, unless you want a little boost of more salt. You could just put a sprinkle in. But yeah, the mushrooms are really soft. It balances with the potatoes and the water chestnuts because they're still crisp and but still light at the same time with the water chestnuts at least, but very warm and hearty with the potatoes. And then the chicken is very tender, and because it is in small bites, you don't really need to cut anything up. And then, of course, parsley is more for an aesthetic, but you can eat it with the dish. I think this is actually pretty successful and tastes really good. Being it from the 1950s for their dishes, yeah, this is something that I would actually gladly stick around and continue to actually do this, especially since it's so quick to make in comparison to other cooking recipes that I've done in the past. So yeah, this is great. I like it. If you tried this out yourself too, just let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to subscribe so we can keep hanging out. And I shall see you in the next video. Bye!